imported from London. And again, you see all of these politicians, they don't care about us because it doesn't bring money for them. But when it comes to the banking sector, that's their family and friends that are running them, when they're about to collapse, you know the collapse of Skybank, they were quick to bring out trillions of naira to bail them out. And where is the CEO of the former Skybank that looted the funds? We have not seen it. But ASUU has been saying since 2009 that 1.5 trillion naira to fund education.
I have a son that is Unilag, Chobani Akiwande is in law, year 4. It's at home, just like all these children. They are not lazy, they are very hardworking children. They are lecturers, what they are asking for the betterment of all these children and the younger ones that are coming behind them. What they are asking for is just for them to have better environment for studies, good pay, good welfare for the children. And when they have all this facility, we have the best of these children. The lecturers will give us the best of their time because they'll be happy, they'll be well paid, they'll be looking for what is not available elsewhere. They want to stay back in Nigeria and take and bring up these children and mentor them, because at the end of the day, this is our future and we are messing up with them.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Shadiya Farouk, has disclosed that over 4 billion naira was spent on procuring starter packs of 194 youth trained on smartphone repair in Adamawa State under its Earn Skills. She made this disclosure at the graduation ceremony of 194 youth trained in smartphone repairs, stressing that the government is committed to investing over 4 billion naira on training, tooling and payment of monthly stipends to the Batch C beneficiaries of the program. The minister was represented by the National Coordinator of the National Social Investment Programs, NSIP, Dr. Umar Buba Bindiri.
This administration, NSIP, will be there. All these programs will be implemented, and gradually, by God's grace, we will achieve the policy of Mr. President of lifting 100 million people out of absolute poverty.
With a total number of 28,697 youths benefiting from this program since inception and receiving 30,000 monthly as stipend. Not only that, we have the non-graduate category that have graduated over 1,000 in Adamawa State.
For giving us this kind of opportunity to participate in one of the skill acquisition that is running within the country. I want to say thank you because we have learned a lot, and by God's grace, we are not going to put you down. We'll make sure that with these skills that we have acquired, we'll be able to gain something that you people will come at last and say, thank you.
This week's program has been a very successful one. I've learned what I don't know before. The skill acquisition and the handset smartphone repair, the teachers have taught us a lot.
The Delta State Police Command is asking residents of Asaba to disregard any seat-at-home order issued by faceless persons. And this declaration is coming on the heels of a message by faceless individuals that Asaba residents are warned to observe the seat-at-home order as declared by the prescribed IPOB. While urging residents to go about their lawful businesses, the police commissioner assured residents of their safety. He promised that the command is willing and able to deal decisively with anyone or group of persons who try to cause trouble in the state. And as the strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, reaches the third month, the union said it will end its warning strike Monday, 9th of May, as considerations on an indefinite strike will commence. On our street views, residents of Kano have bewailed the prolonged ASUU strike. Take a listen.
I think the FG are not being serious about developing the tertiary institution in this country. I see it as a deliberate effort from the FG because of they don't really see themselves as stakeholders. the demand of ASU has been negotiated for the past many years back, and so I think that the federal government itself, they need to call ASU, look at the demands and meet those little demands.
It's as if the federal government keep deferring the promises they've made to ASU over the years. And this has kept the repetition of the strike. Then ASU will resume from one strike, and then after a while, we wait for the government to fulfill their promise, and they have to go back on another strike, waiting for the government to fulfill their promise, paying them the money they promised. And this is going to, I don't know, it's like an endless loop.
It is saying that when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. So in this case, I think the students are really paying for this struggle. And another thing is the federal government, most of them, their children, their work do not study here in Nigeria, and which is, for me, I think doesn't really concern most of them.
It's a really concerning issue because this strike has been prolonged, and most of our youths, you find out that they have nothing to do, and the time they're supposed to have graduated so that they can face their future now, it's been lingered and it's been delayed, and this has not been good for our future leaders.
Federal government should look into the system. If they feel like what these people are asking for is more than them, at least they can also have a reasonable negotiation with them that it will be in the favor of the students and the staffs.
One thing I want to I hope they are not even thinking that when they call off this strike, that we will come and pay another school fees. We don't have the money to pay for another school fees. We've paid already. That 2 months, they will pay us back. They will have to give us free lectures for 2 months.
It's a waste of time. People are not doing anything. Students are at home are not doing anything. So the federal government and ASU, I don't know, they should come to a compromise and try to figure out something. At least the federal government should try to give ASU part payment or something. I don't know, anything. They should just try to come to a compromise and allow us to go back to schools.
And now moving on to other parts of Africa. 3 civil society leaders on Monday confirmed the death of dozens of people killed by armed men. They said many people were also missing after the armed men raided a mining encampment near the town of Mongwalu in the Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern Ituri province yesterday. No details yet about the number of casualties. And from news on other parts of Africa, ceiling lamps in a newsroom rattled today as buildings shook briefly in Taipei after a 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck off Taiwan's eastern coast. Although there were no immediate report of damage, the quake had a depth of 27.5 kilometers, which is 17.1 miles, with its epicenter at 9.5 kilometers and 55.6 miles coast, roughly halfway between the coast of Hualien County and the southern Japanese island of Yonaguni, the Weather Bureau said, and a quake could be felt across Taiwan, it added. Taiwan lies near the junction of 2 tectonic plates and is prone to earthquakes. More than 100 people were killed in a quake in southern Taiwan in 2016, while a 7.3 magnitude quake killed more than 2,000 people in 1999. And I'm moving on to business news. The prices of local rice, palm oil, brown beans, and bread, amongst other staple food items, surged across Lagos markets. The recent food price increases despite the reopening of 4 more land borders by President Muhammadu Buhari 2 weeks ago. On entertainment news, a Namibia Wildlife Resort today confirmed that 4 tourists have been reported missing in the Fish River Canyon. A group of 4 adults who were embarked on a journey on Saturday sent out a distress call after reaching the first campsite. Namibia's Fish River Canyon hiking season commenced on May 1st and will end on the 15th of September. And throngs of tourists undertake the 4 to 5 days guided and unguided hike into the canyon with a total distance of about 86 kilometers. And that's the news update. I am Destiny Momo. Many thanks for watching.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamode Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
I was pushed to the point that I had to start something not numb. And I'm a big risk taker and I enjoy doing things that nobody really does. I wanted something different from every other art form that has been pushed out there. I didn't have that fulfillment in what I was doing and I really wanted to express myself more as an artist, and I decided to resign and go into practicing art full time. I loved subjects that had illustrations or drawings in them. I just kept pushing it and went to the extent of studying art in school, so it's been art all my life for me. I try to conceptualize what I want to create in my head. Even in as much as scattered as it might be, I create it in my head first, then I put it on paper. I sketch, then I try to pick colors, and I proceed to the main piece. A friend of mine told me, like, there's really nothing that could be achieved with graffiti here. The piece behind me is titled Bold Steps. So I'm just trying to put my own as an abstract journey of African fashion has come so far. The word there is Ikeakpa. Ikeakpa is a Bini word for movement. So we are it's just a movement, and we have the shoes here which shows the flow and the storm which the movement creates while working. I'm Osa 7. I'm an African urban artist and design consultant.
Peptic ulcer disease is the disease of, not exactly disease, a condition, a clinical condition where there is an ulceration, meaning a wound in the stomach. Peptic, coined from the name peptic acid. Peptic acid is found in the gastric. So sometimes you hear gastric ulcer, you hear peptic ulcer. They're not physically different. They are just relating to the stomach. The only other different type of ulcer is duodenal ulcer, which is just the next organ after the stomach. All right. The stomach, which is the sac that contains food, also contains gastric acid or peptic acid that helps to break down protein. The word peptic there is directly related to protein. Okay. So it helps to break down protein. But over time, there could be hypersecretion of this acid that could now cause a breakdown in the walls of the stomach. Now, the stomach walls originally contains mucous membranes or mucosa that prevents this acid from eating up the stomach lining. For some reasons, again, this mucous membrane could also be reduced or absent and further allowing this acid to eat up the stomach. And when this happens, you come down with what you call the peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcer disease can be caused by a couple of things. One of them is stress. During stressful moments, there is a hypersecretion of acid, right? Just to break down the food in it. It's natural. In the whole body, when you're stressed, the body metabolic rate is increased and intensified, and you have many activities going on. Carbohydrates is broken down, more proteins are broken down, fatty acids are broken down to provide one major thing, which is glucose, to allow you to think, send glucose to vital organs. One of them is the brain, the other is the eye, the other is the heart. All these organs, want to function optimally. Now, the gastric juice is also enhanced to break down any food in your body. So that's why if you just ate and you get into very major activity, not long after you'll be looking for the food. Or if you're chewing gum, because those are signs of stress. Now, so stress is one of them. But then when you try stress in an empty stomach, recurrently, you are giving room for this acid to act on the walls of your intestine. The second major cause of peptic ulcer disease is a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori is a very dangerous bacteria because, a bacteria that dwells in acid, I really don't know what you want to do to that bacteria, but basically, it stays there and it eats up the lining of the intestine, all right? So this is one of the implicative factors for those who are positive for ulcers. One of the third causes is the use of drugs, certain drugs, or certain chemical substances that are erosive, okay, caustic soda. One of that one is some of all these drugs you buy on the road, you just ingest them, you swallow them anyhow, especially pain relievers. That's why you don't just go out to take pain relievers just anyhow. They affect the stomach, and of course they potentiate, because what they do is they inhibit that mucous membrane I talked about that prevents the acid from getting on the stomach, and then they remove it. And you see, you have the acid, the direct contact, and then you have some ulceration, wounds in your stomach, and it can get so bad that by the time those wounds get then straight to a vessel, it ruptures the vessel, and then you have bleeding. So you have people bleeding sometimes, all right? And then one other cause is a genetic factor. So sometimes ulcers can be genetic, all right? It's called the Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, where the vagus nerve that supplies the intestine is hyperstimulated, and so you have excessive secretion of acid. And listen, this is specific for certain people, okay? Just the way some people sweat more than other people, just the way some people, eat more than the other people. Some people produce saliva more than other people. You can also produce gastric acid more than other people. Well, the word is try to eat recurrently. Don't fast every time. If you're fasting, let it clear that you're fasting, okay? And you want to fast guidedly, okay? Maybe with your doctor. You like to see your doctor first and be sure that you're good to go, okay? If not, you don't do it recurrently, okay? What other things can you do to prevent it? Yeah, irrational use of drugs. Don't just take drugs because you see them. Don't drink chemicals easily. The use of alcohol potentiates it. Regular intake of alcohol exposes you to possibilities of coming down with peptic ulcer disease. Now, one other thing is ingestion of diet. What kind of food should you do? High levels of acid containing diet should be minimized. All right. Sometimes you see people taking all kinds of concussions, herbal concussions. You are exposing yourself to great dangers. Okay. When you do all kinds of acid containing meals or diet, lime, you're trying to mix lime and ginger, and you're trying to lose weight, but you are potentiating something else. So it's important that you are careful what you are mixing, prevent it. You don't have to take excessive protein diet. Some people like to take roasted meat, for example, what we call suya locally. You do a lot of suya and you do a lot of alcohol. That can potentiate peptic ulcer disease for people. So prevent it by reducing this type of foods. Try not to take a lot of carbonated drinks. Alcohol dropped drastically. Water is very important. And before you do some of these things, please eat right. All right, eat your balanced diet. Don't skip meals. For basic treatments, you just get to meet your doctor who would prescribe the drugs for you. But you're not supposed to eat heavy foods, but just eat in bits. All right, so you wake up in the morning, you want to sometimes do alkalinized water, and then a slight breakfast. Not anything acidic. A balanced diet is fine. If you must go for a fast, then tell your doctor. Major symptoms, remarkable symptoms of peptic ulcer disease is that you have painful sensation here on your upper stomach. Many times that gets you to the back. Many people have diagnoses of peptic ulcer disease, which are really not peptic ulcer disease. So they come up to the hospital and they say I have ulcer. And I say, who said? And they say, well, my auntie said, or my uncle said. No, you have to have a diagnosis of peptic ulcer disease. And one of them, like I said, is a test of H. pylori. The other test is, which is usually the gold standard. There's URABRET test, one of the tests, but the gold standard is an endoscopy, where you get to see the internal organ and be sure that there's a wound there. And this usually happens when there's bleeding, from the mouth or from the anus. All right. Other symptoms, like I said, is bleeding. You have bleeding. So you don't just have pain, pain that spans from this upper stomach down to the back. So it feels like a dagger piercing through you, down to the back. It's characteristic of that. Okay. Especially worsened when you've not eaten or when you just ate. The moment you take in food, you feel that sharp pain that, wanes for a while. So food affects the pain. Okay. Of course, bleeding is one of the side effects, one of the symptoms of peptic ulcer disease, bleeding, either from the mouth, just see slight trace of blood, or from the anus. One more thing is the heartburn. You feel that constricting pain, heartburn. Then lastly, there are few other symptoms, but one of the remarkable symptoms is a headache. You have a persistent headache that can be called a migraine. Not necessarily a migraine, but many people just say, oh, it's a migraine, but it's not. You notice that headache coincides with when you have the stomach pain, or it precedes the stomach pain. Now, that is a kind of symptom of a peptic ulcer disease. Usually, it's said that some of the brain cells, have some mimicking cells that look like the ulcer cells. So whenever the ulcer is firing, or whenever the gastric acid is firing, you have the same firing occurring in the brain, and you have that headache. Whenever you have it, you need to treat properly for peptic ulcer disease.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Tosin Ari, and I'm the founder CEO of Farm Fresh Grocery. I started out as a model in like over 2 decades ago. I used to be a model, and that was, I was in Ife and I was modeling at the same time. So for a while, that was just all I wanted to do, modeling. After Deal or No Deal, I went to South Africa. I came back to Nigeria, and I've always liked marketing, sales. So while I was in South Africa, whenever I was coming home, I was buying shoes to come and sell. So when I came back to Nigeria, I was still selling shoes, and then aside selling shoes, I was grooming models. I was running modeling school. So, but after a while, price of dollar went high, and then I lost my mom to breast cancer. So, but before I lost her to breast cancer, she used to be like the strongest person I know, because I used to be sickly. I was kind of child that every weekend would go to the hospital. I was asthmatic, plenty allergies. But back then we didn't even know there were allergies, so but I was always in and out of the hospital. I'm actually AA, so it wasn't like I was a sick or anything, but I was always sick. Even when I was in university, I was always having typhoid anytime I changed environment. But my mom is the kind of person that she'll go to Bariga market and she'll buy water in nylon. Not pure water, those 1 naira water, and she will drink it. Nothing will happen to her. I can't. Even pure water will have typhoid, even bottled water. You understand? So for me, she was like the strongest person I knew. And then when she had cancer, she did chemo twice. And then after the second one, she said she wanted to try this naturopathy or wellness kind of treatment, and she stopped taking chemo. And then, people she was seeing then, they would say, get flax seeds, get this, get that. I'd never heard of those things before in my life. So I started researching about those things. I realized that these are things that have, a lot of health benefits. But the best thing about natural medicine is that it works faster when you take it before you fall ill. Not wait until you become ill. So I kept researching, and then I was discovering so many things like turmeric, and then I used to have allergies. Then I stopped. There was a time that once it was like evening, my nose would be blocked. I'd breathe in my mouth. And then I saw this cardiologist, and it was like, I had to put me on loratadine and one asthma drug permanently. And I hated that. I always hated taking drugs. I didn't want to. And then I realized that even loratadine was not working well for me again. It became, my body had kind of adjusted. So I was like, I needed to find an alternative. I needed to find a way of, being able to live a healthier life without having to resort to living on drugs. So that's how I started discovering and, making inquiries about herbs and spices. So that's how I founded Farm Fresh Grocery in 2016. So we started out as just helping people get natural food, but then we realized a lot of food were processed and preserved with chemicals. So I wanted to have access to farmers, buy directly from them, and sell. Back then it was so hard because farmers felt they wanted to take over their business. But with time, we grew from having just one farmer to having a network of farmers that we buy things from. And then even at some point, I had to go into farming myself. So I was also now planting some things on my own. Then the herbs and spices that, we're trying to educate people about the benefit. People understood what we were saying. And they know, oh, turmeric is very good for this. I was telling people, like when you go to India, for instance, they will tell you that when a child complains of stomachache or headache, the first thing they think about is turmeric. They will make like a turmeric latte. That's their own kind of paracetamol. So you tell things like this to customers, and they'll say, okay, let me buy this turmeric, but they'll keep it in their house. After a while, they throw it away. So food wastage was not just now, associated to just farmers and processors or distributors. It extends to, the final consumers. People want things that is easy for them to use. People want things that is not, they don't want to stress themselves. They just want convenience. They want a healthy living, but they want it, presented to them in a ready-to-eat form. So I started making herbs-infused honey. So you have like a cinnamon lemon honey, hibiscus honey, like different kinds of honey, as well as sea salt. Because I also realized a lot of people did not want to eat MSG, as well as, you know, several sugar-flavored seasonings that we have out there. So people wanted to live healthy and they wanted it made easier. So that's how I started, you know, infusing herbs and spices in honey, sea salts, teas, even in oil, like sesame oil and olive oil, you know, infuse herbs and spices in them. And you know, just a way to make these herbs and spices a regular thing that people take. We're not waiting now until we fall ill. We're making it a part of us that we do like regularly. So that's how it's been, and that's how we started. The few jobs I had back then, so once I had the money I was making from modeling, I would buy shoes, I'll come back, sell, get some more money. And then eventually when I, you know, relocated back here, I was getting from the US and things were going fine. I was, you know, selling mostly Italian shoes to men and all that. You know, men, they buy out of need, not out of, not out of, like, you know, women, once, even if they have 1,000 shoes and they see a fine one, they'll buy. But for men, they don't mind spending. Because they know they might just buy one shoe for a while, but it has to be good, you know. So I was selling lots of Italian shoes and all that. But when dollar went from 160 something to 300 and something, I had to rethink, you know, that if this is a business I wanted to continue. And then after I lost my mom, I just thought that food is actually becoming more and more important, the kind of food you eat, you know. I mentioned earlier that, you know, there was a time I had that allergy. By the time I started, you know, alternative medicine towards treating my allergy, you know, the first thing I was asked to do was I was asked to stop eating a number of food. My favorite food was amala, and next was rice. I had to stop eating them. Bread, number 3, I had to stop eating all those things. And guess what? My allergies cleared. I'll wake up, you know, I'm the kind of person that you see me, there's always tissue in my pocket. Because, you know, I didn't even know it was allergy. But my mom used to say, Kogbe. My nose was never dry growing up. You know, so all this while I didn't even know there were allergies because I was asthmatic. So for instance, if all the windows are closed and, you know, there's no fan, there's nothing, after a while, my eyes will start itching, my throat, my ears, and then I'll start sneezing. I didn't know all these things were allergies. I just thought it was normal because that was what I was used to. They discovered I was asthmatic when I was 2 years old. So from there up till that period, all those things were normal until I realized they are actually allergies. So I didn't even know that these allergies can actually stop by changing my diet. And then I would take onions first thing in the morning. It will clear my airways. And then garlic at night. That was all I was put on. And my allergies disappeared. So that made me, you know, realize that it is important for us to change. Look at what we're eating. The real food, as in food, should actually be our medicine, not the other way around. If you eat right, there's no need for medicine. Okay, so how did I get funding to start Farm Fresh Grocery? Well, Farm Fresh Grocery, it started like a joke, you know, because I had a regular work that was going, and then I just thought of, you know, selling to my colleagues first. So I just started with just like a cooler of fresh chicken from the farm, because my sister has a farm. So I'll just get the chicken from her, buy them from her, and sell. That was how I started. Because, you know, then it was hard to find. I remember telling somebody back there when I just started that it's so hard to get farmers that, you know, I'm looking for farmers that I can buy things from so that I can sell to people, you know. It was such a hurdle, but it was such a big deal. And it wasn't even about capital because, you know, I was working. I could use my salary to buy some of the things that I needed to start. So I just started, I didn't start big. I started like from, you know, just from the house, like just buying a few things and selling to people, but telling them that this is healthier, it's not imported chicken, is, you know, they're hormone free, you know, all that. Unlike all those imported ones that they've given, injected formalin and all that, you know. So it was just like a movement, a health movement to convince people that all these things leads to cancer in the long run. Because in my wildest dream, I never thought my mom would have breast cancer. You know, we used to say, breast cancer, okay. In this, you know, back then, we didn't take breast cancer or any kind of cancer serious, we say, we are in Nigeria, we are strong. We didn't, because it wasn't so rampant back then, unlike now. Before that we can't have cancer. But the more we were embracing, all the things that's done abroad, the more of the cancer we're, also embracing. From selling the chicken, for instance, I'll put a markup once I buy from the farm, from the farmers. I put a little markup, and then, once you sell that, you order more, and then, there's family, my family invested in me, like my husband, So I just started gradually. First it was chicken, it was bell peppers, then, gradually we moved to other things like gari and all that, just like that, little by little. It wasn't like I started, there's no big finance that came from anywhere. I just started gradually, and, But I got a grant recently from Under 40 CEO. So they gave me $1,300. We had to pitch our business, and so that's the only help I've gotten. But then I've gotten a lot of trainings. There's not, a lot of times we think all we need is finance. But a lot of times you need to know what to do with those finance. And that is why we're trainings, all these entrepreneurship programs coming. So I've gone to a couple which has actually helped to form how my business has developed so far.
Artificial preservatives have been used in foods for decades. These can lead to negative health consequences and have significant complications, such as increasing costs, handling hazards, concerns about residues on food, and a threat to human environment. As a good alternative, spices and herbs replace chemical preservatives as natural, effective, and non-toxic compounds. Spices and herbs can be used as food additives, flavoring agents, and as natural food preservatives. The term spice and herb are used in describing plant parts used in enhancing the taste or flavoring the food. An herb is a plant that is valued due to its scent, flavor, or other desirable qualities. Herbs are mainly used for medicines, cosmetics, cooking, and other spiritual purposes. Spice, on the other hand, is a dried root, leaf, fruit, or vegetative substance. It is used as nutritionally insignificant amounts as a food additive for color, flavor, or as a preservative that kills or prevents the growth of harmful bacteria. Several spices show antimicrobial activity against different types of microorganisms. The consumption of herbal medicines is increasing throughout the world as an alternative treatment for curing several problems, including heart diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, and even certain types of cancer. The health benefits of spices and herbs includes the help in the faster healing of wounds, act as nutritional supplements, strengthen the immune system, lower blood sugar and cholesterol levels, help protect against cancer. Herbs eliminate nutritional deficiencies and thus restore the correct functioning of the body. They rectify various problems rather than suppressing them. Herbs nourish every part of the body with their vitamin and mineral content. Consuming herbs may also help to reduce blood clots and provide anti-tumor properties, can help control blood sugar and insulin activity, speeds up healing, relieves muscle tension, and reduces stress while improving the circulatory, immune, and nervous system. What makes herbs and spices special are the unique compounds that fight the free radicals, that is, the reactive chemicals that damage our cells, reduce oxidative stress, prevent the formation of tumors, protect your DNA, balance your blood sugar, and enhance digestion. Adding herbs and spices to your daily diet can protect your health in the long term and reduce the risk of cardiovascular, cerebral, metabolic, and digestive disorders.
The biggest challenge, employees. A lot of youths don't want to work. Seriously, a lot of youths don't want to. There are few that want to, but not everybody. It takes a while to get I don't know why, but you know, they probably just used to easy money come, and a lot of youths don't want to work. So to get reliable staff is usually tough. So most of the time you have to, you know, they go, you get another one, retrain, they go, they come, you know. It has been one major challenge. The second challenge is packaging. It's so expensive. Packaging is so expensive, you know. People want to see your product, you know, on the same level with imported products, but they don't consider at what cost, you know, it takes to get there. And then sometimes it's not even just the cost, it's the availability. For instance, the flavored honey, we put them in jars, and then the jars, in some places we get them reasonably, like two places I get them that the prices are a bit reasonable. But once those two people don't have, you can get a jar as expensive as 600, 700. So how much am I going to sell the product inside? You know, the other alternative is to import from China. And there's so many challenges that can happen along the way. So it's a bit, you know, dicey. People want to see pretty things, but they don't want to pay for it. You want it to be cheap, but they don't, you know, they don't want to pay the price. And there's also the cost of production. The cost of production is so high, especially if you look at, you know, we have to dehydrate our products. You know, like the raw materials, we always have to dehydrate them. The cost of electricity is like, you know, really high. And then a lot of our processes are still manual. So we need like to get some equipment to make it, you know, better. Okay, if you look at this, for instance, I'm trying my hands on flavored, sachet flavored honey. So I try to do this manually. See what we can, this is the best we could get. But if we have that machine, you get those imported kind of thing. And to get one of those machines, you spend, you know, at least like $3,000 or $2,500, yes, to get it into here before you pay for the price itself and then the bringing it down here and all. You know, so cost of, you know, getting those automated machines are not so cheap. I wish that, you know, each time that the government say they support farmers, that they actually do, but we haven't seen it. So there was a time I, you know, leased land from the government in Ogun State. It's a palm plantation. So they had this, you know, they have like over hundreds of hectares just, you know, there. So they were leasing it out. So I leased about 20 hectares and I decided to start with 4 hectares. I planted cassava, a trailer load of cassava. And I did pick 1 naira from there because herdsmen, they went there, they harvested them for their animals and even burnt the whole place down. And the government, who is supposed to be my landlord, could not save me from them. ASF, African swine fever, happened and we lost a lot of our pigs. The government, you know, we're yet to hear any support from them up till today. During the strike, nationwide strike, we planted cucumber. The cucumber was ready for harvest. We couldn't get to the farm because there was riots everywhere. We tried several times to go to the farm. All the cucumber wasted, like 20-something bags of cucumber. The few that we were able to take to the market, when we got to the market, was rejected. That is already changing color. You know, in a civil environment, the government will subsidize things like that. Like, Okeawe is a very big farm. And a lot of farmers lost their life because they lost billions to this African swine fever. We're yet to hear anything from the government. Nothing. So I don't know what to ask them because I don't know if they do anything. Because, you know, all we've asked is that they subsidize things for us when there are problems like this. But, you know, they don't even show up. You know, so we've learned to do everything by ourselves. Well, for me, the joy is mostly when, you know, customers are happy about what you're doing, especially like the flavored honey, flavored salt, the teas, you know. When a customer says, can you make a tea for me to help me sleep better? And the customer is happy that, you know, the herbal tea helped and, you know, she was able to sleep. Those are the kind of things that you just, you know, sometimes when these are flavored honey. When we are making it, can be very tedious because we have to squeeze out the herbs from the honey manually. can be very hectic. And some days I just wonder, why am I stressing myself through all this process? But then when a customer tastes and this is really good, you know, it actually makes you happy. And then when we get recognitions, like when we got the grants, or like when we got picked for programs, you know, like a lot of programs that were not funded by, you know, governments, like private NGOs and all that, but you know, you learn quite a bit, you know. Like we recently concluded a program by Cherry Blair Foundation and Enterprise Development Center on financial literacy. That kind of training is invaluable. It's more than asking for money, because if you have the money and you don't have the idea of how to channel it into your business, how to, you know, come up with a plan, then, you know. So it's not all the time that all we want is money. Sometimes it's just free trainings, like what some of these NGOs have done. If the government can even do some of that, you understand what I'm saying? For the youth, you're saying youth should go into agriculture, but the few that are going, how are you supporting them? What are you doing to support them? You know, agribusiness, like any other business, it's a tough business. A lot of times you feel like giving up. I know I felt like giving up after those experiences, you know, because like, is it only me? First, I went to Jebugbo, you know, invested so much money, you know, paid for 20 hectares, you know, plant the stress from Jebugbo to that farm in Akboje. It takes like an hour from Ijebugbo. You can imagine me leaving Lagos and facing there and coming back. One challenge or the other, and then the stress of even planting them. The labor there is highly overpriced. You know, battling with all that, and then at the end of the day, nothing to show. Nothing at all. You know, so I always advise, you know, people want to go into agribusiness, you must have knowledge before you go into the business. You must have adequate knowledge. People will take advantage of it. These so-called people that you think are your friends or somebody from church, they will show you Niger. So you must have, you know, adequate knowledge about the business yourself. You must have time. Because if you don't have time, they'll cheat you. There's no two ways about it. You know. And then I always say that if you want to invest in a farm, make sure you can fence the place. Because until this our herdsmen issue is totally resolved, just make sure the place is fenced, or else you're just investing, like fetching water with a basket. No matter how much you pour water into it, you're just wasting that energy. There's no guarantee that you go away with anything from there. Okay, so I had a staff that was always going to check, you know, what was going on in the farm. And then he went there once and he saw them there. He took a picture showing them in the background. They were even, you know, telling him that why is he taking their picture? Because they don't go in, they go in numbers. They go in numbers, so he couldn't challenge them. So he just took the picture, you know, as they were in, you know, like thousands of the animals and the people, you know, moving them. So I could see that those were the people, actually. So for distribution, so far, we got our NAFTA for like 6 of our products last year, towards the end of last year. So we've been trying to sell to the supermarkets. So but the challenge now is that there's some supermarkets that, you know, when you supply them and they sell, before you get your money out, it takes a while. So because of that, you have to shine your eye and be very careful. Because I heard that some supermarket that over a year, if you won't get your money out, so one has to be careful. You know, but we're in a number of places. We're at Araba's Homemade. It's a restaurant, and they do bakeries and all that. So we have our honey and our sea salt there. Then we have Farm Shoppy. It's on the Bagada Expressway, the filling station there. There's Ayaba's Healthy's store, also in Bagada Phase 2. And then there's Tonyson Supermarket in Ebute Metta. We plan to extend to more places, working on that. We're also talking to them at Amazon Farms in Ikoyi. But we have our personal shop inside the Bagada General Hospital, Shop 12, Bagada General Hospital. So basically, the plan is to, you know, extend to more supermarkets. And what we actually just joined some platforms, e-commerce platforms like Jumia and Flutterwave. We intend to join more before the end of the year so that people can actually order from out of Lagos and then they do the delivery, which is the advantage of e-commerce.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Good evening, you're welcome to another episode of Plus Trending. My name is Elile, and on this show we talk about everything and anything trending across the social media space and of course why they are trending. The Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, has rescinded their decision to shut down operations from today, Monday, May 9, 2022. The operators had recently announced their readiness to shut down operations due to the increase in the costs of aviation fuel. The body, in a statement on Sunday, May 8, 2022, said they would not continue with the planned suspension of flight operations as earlier announced. The operator said the planned shutdown was suspended after the federal government intervened with the promise to address the astronomical rise in the price of aviation fuel. The last couple of days have been rough for travelers who scheduled to travel via flights, as we saw cancellation of so many flights and in so short time. I myself was also a victim, and running around trying to make alternative travel plans was so stressful, and this is to say in the least. Now let's look at some of the reactions to this development. Ajumaf 3 says, Nigerian airlines have suspended flights over soaring fuel prices. No flights in and out of the country for the local airline. Nigeria is one of the largest oil producers in Africa. Africa. At Mosende says, flight operators have called off their strike. I hear everything was done to make sure it didn't even start. ASU has been on strike for months and no one seems to care. Nothing much. Just a reminder that issues would only get attention in Nigeria if they affect the elites. At Kempia Katkuk says, Nigeria, is this a joke or what? Whilst people are buying 100 million naira form for presidency all over the place, there's ASU strike, insecurity, bad and unsafe roads, unsafe rails, airfare hikes leading to flight disruptions. Please, who has jinxed us? Now, I have just one thing to say in response to this. Get your PVC. Here are some more reactions. Now, talking about ASU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities is trending yet again as the second round of the 8-week warning strike embarked upon by members of the union ends today. Now, following this, the union has just extended the warning strike by another 3 months as its demands have not been met. The union had earlier gone on a 1-month strike on February 14 this year and extended it by another 8 weeks and now rolling over the strike for another 12 weeks. A statement signed by ASU President Professor Emmanuel Osadeke said this was to give the government enough time to satisfactorily resolve all the outstanding issues. He also stated that the rollover strike is effective from 12:01 a.m. May 9, 2022 to end on the 1st of August 2022. ASU said it took this decision after its National Executive Council meeting, which started on Sunday night at the Comrade Festus Iyayi National Secretariat, University of Abuja. This latest update has raised a lot of dust again on social media with the hashtag ASU trending across various social media platforms. Of course, a good majority of students are very unhappy about this possibility, and here are some of the opinions the people have on the topic. At Nelly King says, how do you expect the federal government to answer you when the only thing people know how to do is to go on strike? Striking strategy is not working anymore. Please, ASU Nigeria, change your strategy. You can't sit at home and wait for federal government response. At Wagbayi says, I still don't understand why ASU will be on strike and there's an ongoing JAMB examination going on. Where are the JAMBites going? Stop joint admissions and matriculation examination now. Stop playing pranks on them. We are all into this. Now, I just have to correct that there are a lot of private universities and other tertiary institutions that aren't under ASU. So we can't halt everything simply because of ASU. At Reno Mokri says, ASU is on strike over lack of funds. NASU is on strike over lack of funds. NUT is on strike over lack of funds. Yet, the education minister, who should provide funds for them, just bought a 100 million naira APC presidential nomination form. If only EFCC knew their job. At Pixela B, David says, Dear ASU, We are having a great time figuring out what we are meant to do with our lives thanks to the break you gave us. With this, we plead that we need more time. Don't come to a compromise with anyone. Get what you ask for and nothing else. Now, before you all come for David, he has a very, very valid point. It's better to do this once and for all instead of calling the strike off without getting what is needed and then having to start all over again later on. What say you? Now, here are some more reactions. With the pandemic stalling academic activities and now this seemingly unending strike action, I can only imagine how disorganized students are, and because no matter how you look at it, as students, you can't make long-term plans that require your physical presence outside the locality of your school because there is always that fear of, what if the strike is called off? Now, this is so sad and disheartening to say the least, but I guess there was a country. Now, we have come to the end of the show for today, but do tell all your opinions on this episode by using the hashtag #PlusTrending or send us a message on WhatsApp. Thank you as always for joining me on the show today. Do not forget to tune into Plus TV Africa on StarTimes channel 308 and DSTV channel 408, or visit our social media pages and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa Lifestyle and Plus TV Africa for more trending topics. My name is Elile. Do have a great week.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Hey, what's up guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Research has it that working with your spouse has an impact on your personal relationship, as some
couples believe that working and building a business together has made their personal relationship much stronger, deepening their trust, appreciation, and making both the business and marriage more successful. But the question is it healthy for couples to work together? Well, we're about finding out from this couple, Andrea and Collins Teke, who do not only have the same career, but also work in the same organization and as well share office space.
This is how these two on-air personalities resume their dream career jobs together every day. Collins and Andrea Teke were renowned individual broadcasters before they fell in love and got married. Not a few people think that relationships are hard enough to deal with on their own, and when you throw working together into the mix, it can get even trickier. One interesting thing about the Tekes is how seamless the couple anchors the same show together, a first of its kind in Nigerian radio.
Lagos, Nigeria, we want to know how you're doing this morning. What is going on around your area? We want you to tell us and also scream, "What's up, Lagos?" Yes! Yes! Cheers to life!
They didn't always work together. Collins used to run a production studio, and it was at work that he met Andrea.
I needed a female voice. The client demanded for a specific female voice that sounded a certain way. And explained it to one of my, staff or team members at the time. And he said, "No, I know this lady. This lady is, she has a great voice. She's fantastic. She's beautiful." So, the boss, you even like the babe self, that kind of thing. And I said, "Okay, let's hear." Before you know it, there was a phone call. Before you know it, and then, it was timely. She came into the studio working. She just stole the presence of the room, And I couldn't do anything. I didn't have anything in mind because at the time I was in another relationship.
What happens at home? Does Andrea take up the role of a traditional African wife and mom?
I'm blessed to have him. I'm not sure that I'll be able to meet up. I'm not sure that I would be able to meet up if he has not been the way he has been, that is being super supportive. I wake up in the morning and the first thing is to take care of my baby because we have a son together. The first thing is to take care of him, have his bath, prepare his meal, cook and, clean, have my own bath prepared, and then we come to work. But the good thing is he takes up the responsibility of bathing this boy in the morning. So he takes that off my duty, so to speak. Sometimes I do it while he cleans or dresses him up. And then I face the kitchen. So we share that responsibility. It's more like sharing the responsibility at home and also sharing the responsibility at work. So it makes it easy for me.
It's a situation of we are going to work together. Yeah. We have to leave at the same time. We meet at the same time. Get on time. And then do our show. We have to prep afterwards, do everything together. So I can't go back home and start saying, "Where's my food? Where's my food from where?" You understand? So we plan it together. Yeah. And I think that pushed me to also, rise to the occasion, which is something I would encourage, especially couples, whether or not you're working together, to rise to the occasion when your woman needs it the most.
Thank you. Spending time together may be good for their relationship, but this couple also faces challenges, especially in maintaining their individual identities.
People will call on the show and say, Collins, tell your wife. And the wife is right there. They call and they greet him first before they greet me. Some don't even greet me. Some don't even regard that I am on the show with him. Yeah. So it dealt with me when we started initially, dealt with me mentally, dealt with me emotionally, because it felt like I am there, but still not there. Because, it took a while for people to recognize my presence, because at the end of the day, you are his wife. You are supposed to calm down when he's talking. You're supposed to be quiet when he's talking. And, this is my job. I was a broadcaster before I got married to him. Yeah. And so it is my job first. And that's what people took a while to embrace. It's just something I'm dealing with. And I think that people would gradually get used to it. There are no days that we don't have, times where we quarrel, times where he's on a different cloud, I'm on a different cloud, and we have to come on the radio and talk and make Lagos happy.
And do it. Kick a show.
And make Lagos happy. So it's actually challenging where you have to not let the world know that you're dealing with something and come on the air and be beautiful and be excited. We sometimes forget that we're having any issue or there's a quarrel or there's a misunderstanding or there's one problem to deal with right on the show. And after the show, we're out, we're giving ourselves, that was a great show.
I don't realize, but we're fighting. People tend to just make what they make out of the situation. So whatever you present is what you get. So before you know it, your individual brand starts sinking in the joint brand.
Sharing an office space requires this couple having as little time away from each other as possible, as nerves may become frayed.
We have to create the fun.
Exactly what I was going to say.
And make it a fun filled. That's what we do.
That's what I hear. We create our fun.
Go somewhere
when we're
alone.
tensed,
right,
with everything happening. We call it decluttering. We probably go to the beach side, nobody with us, just the both of us, no phones, nothing. And we are sitting discussing what is going on in our lives as individuals and also as a couple. We just declutter. What I have been having in my mind that is building up to a resentment, I tell it to him. He also tells me we find a way to trash it out.
And it's a no judgment zone.
Yeah, we try not to judge each other. We just say the way it is.
A number of private organizations don't allow their staff get romantically linked. Collins shares his view about this.
It's a world that is changing from what it used to be, making laws just because you want to make laws, but doing it for the best interest, in the best interest of those involved. So it's a question of, the interest of those involved. I don't think it changes anything. If anything, couples working together has proven, at least in our own case, that it promotes bonding. It also promotes, in fact, I've been a better broadcaster, from the moment she joined me on radio, and even the listener could notice that. I've been a better person, individual, even at work, behaving myself, not doing anything. Because my family is here, I can't go around investing around, even if I'm that crazy guy, I have to, So the benefits are countless. So if, I don't know what the fears are, but I think I want to talk to organizations who have such policies. I think they should review it and give people the chance. I mean, there's nothing wrong for people to be in love and work together.
That's right. I agree with him.
The couple have advice for couples willing to work and build business together.
Once you can create a great atmosphere when you're together, when no one is looking at you, when there's no camera like this one, I'm sure you can replicate that easily when there's a camera. So, but if you do not have that great life and then you want to fake it in front of people and come in and say, oh, everything is fine, hey, it's a matter of time. The toxicity that's involved in it would show, and then it would affect the work. So it all depends on the couple.
There would be challenges. There are things that you would experience that will make you feel like, no, I can't go on anymore. That's just the way marriage is. There are tough times that will make you feel like, yo, I cannot continue this. It's going to happen even with the business. But if you take it the way you take your marriage and say, regardless of this turbulence, regardless of the challenges, it has to work. We have to get it done. When you have that mentality, trust me, it might just come out beautiful.
From the office of the Techers, we head to the home of another interesting couple that has been into automobile mechanics for many years. Wale and Taya Oshikoya have been married for 10 years and working together in repairing vehicles. This home doubles as one of their workshops in Lagos. Marrying Wale was a dream come true for Tayo.
This work started through my husband. Even when we were during courtship, he has been on the field. I was not on the field, but I love the job. So after we get married, I have to join him so that we can work in together, because it's what I've been willing to do for long. And I just love that job. I just love it because when I was small, it's my dad's field. So I used to assist my dad when I was in primary, secondary school. So to God be the glory, after my school and everything, getting married, God now gave me someone that I love and the field I love most.
Meet my wife, we married together, and I have to tell my wife that this is kind of work that I'm doing. And somebody that I love so much, and she loved the work. So when I say, well, I have to tell him to go and quit where he's working before. There's one company that she's working and is managing the company, and she agreed with me. She surrendered. She said, okay, she quit from there, and we join the work together. And thank God for now.
The home of Oshikoyas is well managed, according to a lady mechanic, as Tayo is called.
My work did not disturb my home at all. Even we stay behind, maybe we close very late. My husband will tell me very early that you go home, children are home, they are off from school, go home. Then I'll come home, my husband will be doing the job. By the second day, early in the morning, we will go to balance up the job.
You say, Wale, I say, ma, I say, this business, you have to go more forward now. I said, like how? Now you introduced me to one Fashola school in Ikorodu, automobile school, technology. So we went together. We take me to the school. I said, oh boy, okay. So I see some my junior brother that's even my age, my children age mates. I say, you see those ones that will sit down together in the class. I say, okay, no problem now. And I encourage myself because I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm going. I know where I'm coming from. I know where I'm going. So God give me I'll give God the glory. We sit down together, we'll write the exam, and then take me. So and I'll go there. He give me back school. He give me my shoe. Give me my everything, uniform. I take it. I go to the school. I saw some of my age mates, of my class, of my children mates. We sit down together and say, Papa, I say, how are you? I'm your Papa. Yes.
Personal and marital issues are not allowed to link into the workspace.
We both have our ups and downs, but it doesn't affect our business. Exactly. Our ups and downs is inside our room. Once we are in the same bed together, our ups and downs is off. It did not affect our work. Customer cannot even see it in my face. Rather than for me to now say that, no, it's someone I love. Why will I disturb his business, or why will I disturb my business? If that thing shows in my work, that means our career is nothing.
Normally, as a woman being, as a flesh, we have flesh. Sometimes we fight. We quarrel each other. I told you that, go and do this work. We say, well, I'm tired. Which kind tired? My friend, you have to do it too. You also, I'm your boss. Say, okay. You don't know that I'm tired. I'm a woman now. I say, you have to do it because you love the job. We say, okay. And you do it. Sometimes, like last week now, I said him to go and do work in Ibadan. He say, only me. I said, yes, now. You go and face the work and you defend the work. And you go. Sometimes we'll quarrel, you fight, but you will say, I will hug him back because I know that his woman says some things that I'll say, okay, come outside, leave, let me come and lose it for you. So we'll have to settle it back.
Wale and Tayo have had to endure side talks from people who think their line of profession is strange.
There's one man I used to work with him. He just called me and said, Wale, I said, sir. He said, why your wife used to follow you up and down? I said, sir, my wife is my colleagues. My wife is my partner for this business. If I want to take a boat now, or I want to do something, I want to buy this, I want to lose this, I will tell him, yeah, go and do this, go and do this. So since I've faced so many challenges on this work with my wife, but so far my wife, somebody like he make courage on the work, and she determined on him. There's no how people can discourage him. Even he will face so many challenges on mommy's side, on family side issue. They say, why you follow your husband? Why do you tell your husband to open a supermarket for you and do business and selling and do this? You say, Mom, that's your own time. This is my own time. This person, I love it and I love the job. So all the worry people saying is wrong. Sometimes they call me and say, Wale, why you don't get money to give your wife? I say, Mommy, it's not that I don't have money to give my wife, but my wife loves this job. So what? Say, okay, after some things, after so many years, they leave us.
If you are a dirty person from your home, you will surely be a dirty person. But if I'm going out now, wash my body, clean my hands, you won't believe that this person is a mechanic. I fix fingers as well. I do makeup if I'm going out. You won't even believe that I am a mechanic. That is why at times if we go to customers' house, before putting on my overall, they will say, you come with your wife. If they not say that, no, she's a mechanic, they will say, the women, they love to see me doing the job. They will say, Oga, go and sit down first. Let me see her, the way she's performing the whole things. Even if after everything, if the woman will not say, wow, woman does this one. If my workmanship is 2,000 naira, we say, oh, my dear, let me give her 5,000 naira because she encouraged me.
Sometimes I will tell them that, okay, today we want to go out, we don't do any work, we don't have any customers place today. We are going to dress, wear your dress, do your nails, do everything. I will take him out to go and enjoy ourselves.
As a woman, there is nothing hard. If you have the determination, this thing, I want to lose it. It's almost the same thing, the way we handle our husband and children at home. Any children that's very difficult, you know how to handle those children. That's why the work is.
See people that start before us, that is doing this business, that there is no more again. But we just give the God the glory because we achieved so many things on this work. And we thank God the kind of wife that is given to me. So we achieved so many things.
A work that you are doing, you can be able to train your children's school, and you can be able to cater for your home. Yeah, you can even have a shelter on your head, having your own car. What else someone needs on this earth? Nothing more.
They have also faced challenges working together as a mechanic couple.
If you have a space outside there, people see couples working together, we have more customers. But immediately you go outside there to make your own workshop, government will come and demolish it. It's a big challenge on us, even all mechanics. They see the work as a dirty work and they are going out on their daily basis with their cars. And of which, if the car eventually stopped on the road, they're still going to call we mechanics.
Wale and Tayo believe mono-career couples can emerge strong and fulfilled as long as their values align.
I encourage the people that want to do the business, want to do the work. They should focus on the thing that they want to do. Don't look down on yourself. Maybe you are too big, you are too do this. Just focus on it. And the couples that want to do the business, they have to have trust. Trust your wife. Let wife trust your husband. If you make money today, it's not that the money that you make today, you make sure that you finish all the money. You have to put half for savings or anything. Because like this job that we're doing now, we use some our money to run the business.
If you have passion, you have zeal for your husband's work, and you doesn't have anything doing, it's very advisable to join your husband once you don't have any skeleton in quotes in your cupboard. So you have every right to join your husband just to make the business boom.
Our findings point that some couple craft a way to thrive in love and work by understanding each transition and knowing what questions to ask and what traps to avoid.
Yes! Cheers to life!
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Launching a lucrative food business in Nigeria is super easy only if you know the right type of food business to dive into. Food is an essential element that people consume every day. It is the most important substance that people sought after clothing and shelter. And if you look at the food industry in today's time, you will discover that people who invest in the food business are making a lot from it, maybe. However, with food inflation skyrocketing in Nigeria, does this present more of a challenge than an opportunity? Well, we will also share insight on successful tips for starting a food business in Nigeria. Welcome to Business Insights on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadoni. Nigeria commemorated the start of the week by dedicating 2 days to the Eid holidays. However, here are the highlights of stories that rounded up Business Nigeria. Take a look.
A presidential aspirant on the PDP, Peter Obi, has warned that Nigeria cannot grow economically with a 35% unemployment rate. Is then urging the federal government to aggressively support micro, small, and medium enterprises, which are the engine of job creation. Peter Obi disclosed this in his Workers' Day message to Nigerians. Nigeria's unemployment rate as of the end of 2020 rose to 33.3% from 27.1% recorded as of Q2 2020, indicating that about 23,187,389 Nigerians remain unemployed. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, has said that the federal government aims to transform Nigeria into a gas-powered economy by 2030 to address challenges around power generation through gas-powered plants. The minister disclosed this in Abuja at the 2022 public lecture under the theme Inclusive Energy Transition, Key Issues, Investment Opportunities, and Barriers Towards Achieving the Decade of Gas Initiative in Nigeria. He said natural gas is a key resource for energy transition and that it has all the credentials to support Nigeria to meet its commitments in line with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The federal government and Morocco are set to build the world's longest offshore pipeline and second longest pipeline in the world. This would help to carry gas from Nigeria to Morocco, running across 11 West African countries. This was disclosed by Tolu Ogunlesi, one of the media aides of President Muhammadu Buhari, via his Twitter handle. According to him, the partnership, which is between the NNPC and ONHYM of Morocco, was originally signed by the two countries in June 2018. Telecommunication companies are proposing a 40% increase in the cost of calls, SMS, and data to the Nigerian Communications Commission as a result of the rising cost of running a business in the nation. Based on their proposal, the price floor of calls will increase from 6.4 naira to 8.95 naira, while the price cap of SMS will increase from 4 naira to 5.61 naira. According to them, the telecommunication industry has been financially impacted following the nation's economic recession in 2020 and the effect of the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis. The federal government has disclosed that the second Niger Bridge will be commissioned in October and that the Lagos-Ibadan Highway will also be commissioned in June 2022. Nigeria's Minister of State for Works and Housing, Muazu Sambo, said that 11.9 kilometers second Niger Bridge and 120-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Highway are part of President Buhari's administration pledges on infrastructure.
Well, it is no longer news that the prices of foodstuff and other commodities have gone up and purchasing power reduced in recent times. Nigerians are spending much on food. Does this translate to more money for food entrepreneurs, or are they also struggling to stay afloat? Joining me right now to discuss the food business in this inflationary period is Nneka Adesoya. She is the founder and CEO of Super Dishes. Thanks for joining us on Business Insight.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
It is indeed our pleasure. Let's just dive into it. A lot of people always believe that food business is very lucrative. Is it actually the case, judging by the general hike in prices in Nigeria?
Okay, so first off, I'm super excited that I'm in food business, right? But I would say this, that it's pretty much what you believe to be possible. You know, I mean, someone can say, oh, okay, food business is lucrative, and for somebody else, it's not, you know, it's not as lucrative. So it's what you believe to be true, what you believe to be your reality. And I'll say that for my reality, being in food business for way over 10 years now, right, I would say that it's a thriving it's a thriving arm of business if you choose to make that your reality.
Thank you. Speaking of your reality, it sounds very interesting. Maybe I was just jumping the gun, as it were. Can you tell us how you actually started this? Is it something that you've always wanted to do?
Maybe not exactly. So I was in paid employment, and
you were in paid employment?
Yes, I was in paid employment.
You were a banker, you were a lawyer?
No, I was in customer service. So I was working in a telecommunications company at the time, and I think it became a need. So it's pretty much, you know, how the market is. I feel like every entrepreneur should identify the need, you know, and you're able to meet it. So I was in paid employment at the time, and I think, you know, food became like such an issue. I guess we got tired of what we were always eating, and then on few occasions I come in and then I make different types of meals to work, and then, you know, my colleagues just see and like, babe, how far, you know, can you make this for us? And I think from there I picked up an interest in, okay, I could actually service, you know, I could use my skills to serve people, you know, and so I just started making in small quantities here and there, and before you knew it, this person hears, that person hears, this other person hears. I think at a certain point in my life, I just knew that, okay, God was leading me somewhere else, and, you know, I prayed about it, and here we are.
All right, Nneka, you know, one thing I picked up from what you just said is that there was a need, and you identified it, and you chose to fill that particular need.
Right.
So invariably now, this food business, is it an all-comers affair? What can you do differently to stay afloat?
So I feel that for every business, I strongly advise that you're quite knowledgeable about it, and you're able to grow with the trends, that evolve with the trends. So it's beyond, you know, being, oh, food business is lucrative, oh yeah, let me do this. It's important that you're knowledgeable, right? And when I say knowledgeable, at least you have basic knowledge of how to put tomatoes and, you know, onions together. That's one. I also strongly feel that, you know, on few occasions where I have mentees who say, oh, I'm not making so much profit, I started this business because it was passion. I think it's important that you also understand that there's a difference between passion and there's a difference between making profit as a business. So you can be passionate about something and you're not making any type of profit from it. So it's safe to say that that's a charity business. All right, you're probably cooking for your family, everybody's eating and they're excited. But the moment you want to go into food business, you should understand that there are basic things you should have knowledge of. What's your food costing? You know, what's the percentage of profits that you're looking to make? It's not necessarily because I put 1,000 naira. You know, at the time where I started years back, it was easy to say you're putting 1,000 naira into the business and you're going to get 2,000 naira. But it's way different now because things are way, you know, more expensive than it used to be. So I strongly advise that, you know, it's not for everyone. Food business is not for everyone. But if you're able to understand what is required, you know, to run a business by having basic knowledge of, you know, putting your ingredients together so that it can serve the masses and then it appeals to them. And then two, your food costing. Get your costing right.
Getting your costing right.
It's so key. Getting your costing right. How much would it cost me to do this? You know, some of the basic things that we leave out, which, you know, at the end, by the time you put them together, you realize that, oh, this is what's taking out my money. This is where I can cut costs. This is where I can reduce, you know, wastage. This is, you know, so those are basic things I feel that everyone who's going into food business should know. You should know your basic overhead
costs.
But
then you should know how to cook. Because I wonder sometimes, you know, people operate restaurants and eateries and canteens and all of that. But you find out that when you eat those food being served at or being sold at those places, they're not really delicious. And I wonder how you open a restaurant when you actually cannot cook. How does that work?
So I know that, life has evolved and life is evolving as it is. But like I said, I think it's important that you have basic knowledge of what type of business you're doing. Okay. So, I would bring it to fashion. So you have, certain persons who are in fashion industry who don't necessarily know how to sew. But they have basic knowledge of, okay, this is how I pattern, this is how I want it, there are some core skills that I believe you should have. So, bringing it to those who, and like I say to people, I say that it's way different when you have to cook for one person and when you're cooking for 100 persons. You have to know how you're going to incorporate your ingredients, how you're going to infuse different elements of cooking into it. And, putting your heart into it. So, I think I would just really encourage, or put it out there that for everyone who wants to do food business, you should have basic knowledge. Have basic knowledge of knowing how to cook whatever it is that you want to cook. Because when I started, there were times where I started out doing small chops.
Yes.
Right, and there were days where I knew, I had an idea of the recipes, I knew how I wanted the small chops to look like, I knew, but I just felt, I can hire people to get it done. And on different occasions, I had them not showing up.
Disappointments.
Like, they would not show up, and I'm like, and in that moment, my husband is like, babe, you need to learn this. You need to learn how to do it. And so I picked it up myself. I started frying puff, I started doing stuff by myself. So whether you choose to show up at work, so I think, as individuals and business owners, it's important that you empower yourself. So, you have an identity of your own, regardless of whether you have a great chef or you don't. So
let's talk about how far the industry has grown over the years. I know right now there are a whole lot of stakeholders in the value chain.
Absolutely.
You see lots of delivery men, people order foods online, and just at the tip of your finger, you get meals delivered to you. How far would you say social media and technology has or have indeed helped the sector?
I would say that social media has done a great deal it has done so much for the food business sector, for every business pretty much, because it has given us an edge. So I would say that we're now global competitors, right? So I don't necessarily have to know I don't necessarily have to know where I'm ordering from. Or let me rephrase. I would say it has made us global competitors. Social media has given everybody, an edge to be able to present yourself the way you want people to see you. So for instance, with my food business, you have cases where families in the diaspora order directly here for you to deliver to their families here in Nigeria. Oh, wow. So I would say that, social media has helped a whole lot. It has given us, a level playing ground, so everybody's able to interact. Our pictures are getting to the UK, your pictures are using different hashtags, your pictures are seen in Mexico, people want to identify, with the Nigerian food business industry in itself, because social media has, giving us an edge to be out there, and we're pretty much leveraging on that. So
let's talk about regulation now. Is this particular industry or sector regulated? Because if you had several people jumping on that particular bandwagon, how do we ensure quality? How do you ensure safety and standards as well?
Okay, so I know that we can do better here in Nigeria, to be honest, by having, necessary regulatory bodies that, are able to put checks and balances here and there. But you have different associations that are springing up, bringing some form of unity in the food industry. You have community groups where you can, leverage, knowledge and know what is expected. So I run a community group as well, where we're able to, help growing business owners, gather basic knowledge, have an understanding of the line of business that you're in. So I would say that has helped all them communities here and there and all that. But like I said, I feel that, as a nation, we can still do better by having regulatory, bodies who are able to put checks and balances. However, as a food business owner, I would encourage that you take up courses that can give you an edge, So when I pretty much started, I didn't know that there were certain courses that, that you could leverage on. But, right now you have food safety courses, that makes you certified, that helps to ensure, that gives customers some level of comfort that, okay, this person knows what she's doing. You also have HSE, HSE management courses, health and safety. You have for certain petroleum industries, there are certain courses you also have to, like the DPR certificates, and all of that. So I think that as you grow, it's important that you you lay hold on all of this, certifications. It gives you an edge, in your business, and makes you credible.
But Nick, just as we round off, it's been very interesting learning about all of this trends. But I want you now to help someone who is actually starting out and who wants to get into this business. And I need someone like you who has been there, who has actually gone through the downs and the highs and the opportunities and, of course, the threats. Your camera is too. I just want you to look at it and just advise and give useful tips on how to start a food business in Nigeria.
Okay, I think first off, one thing that I would, say to whoever is watching is, know your why. Why do you want to do what you want to do, right? That's one. Two would be that you must be able to numb yourself to limitations, numb your mind to seeing limitations and saying, okay, this is not working, this is not working. You must be able to numb yourself to such things. And most importantly, one of the scriptures that keeps me going is from Isaiah 50 verses 7, which says you should set your face like a flint and you will not be dismayed. So you must set your face on the one who has called you, on the one who has sent you, and one who is making it possible for you to make your food business grow. Set your face on him. Don't focus on anything else, because he would always give you direction, and that's the person of the Holy Spirit. He'd always direct you and show you which way to go and what steps to take. So do it afraid. Anyways, just start already, because time waits for no one. So start while you can.
All right, thank you so much. Indeed, you have given useful insights on what some people may need to go and pay courses, for to just acquire this knowledge. Indeed, we have been speaking with Nneka Adesonya. She is the founder, CEO of Super Dishes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nneka, for sharing all these insights.
Thank you so much.
We do appreciate it.
I do appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
It is indeed our pleasure.
All right.
All right, during the week, we were at the opening day of the 13th edition of the LAF, that's the Lagos Architects Forum, and it was themed, the city of Lagos, what is Lagos? It brought together experts to discuss issues, trends, and policies, among others, with the city of Lagos as the center of focus. We'll leave you with the highlight of this in the next report. My name is Justin Akadonye, Business Insight. Returns again next week. Bye for now.
Lagos is the fourth capital of Nigeria, known for its uniqueness as an economic hub, high-flying business hub, and a city that has long captivated people from all over the world. However, these architects have converged to share ideas and critical insights to effectively midwife a livable and sustainable Lagos state.
We try to analyze the physical development within the city of Lagos and see how we can get government to key into some of the suggestions that as professionals we think they should key into.
When we talk of the thriving city in the world, these are cities that never sleep.
What it is all about is to synergize, to interact with the private sector, the public sector, the manufacturers, the suppliers of building materials.
In recent times, incidences of building collapses have become recurring, even with a city as commercial as Lagos. As one wonders how this tide can be stemmed, government is advised to ensure monitoring, as enforcement does not stop when approval is given. The professionals believe that state government should domesticate a national building code, as well as show political will to stop the menace.
The building code actually has some compliance forms built into the document, such that at various stages of the development of the building, you have relevant professionals signing off at different stages.
Are we shying away from our responsibilities? Are we ready to take up our responsibilities? And to be honest with you, please be ready for more collapses. Because if we are not ready to do the right thing, then be sure that these tragedies will continue to occur.
Until we can have a proper governance structure on the construction process, where we start to track who designs, who supervises, what are the stages of construction, what are the stages of certification, and it's available on a digital platform. This is why this is Lagos.
The NIA assures that it will continue in its advocacy role as watchdogs to promote best practices in the building procurement process to avert ugly consequences of building failures and collapses.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
It's also equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station Plus TV Africa and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Chief Stephen Osita Osadebe was a Nigerian highlife musician from Atani, Anambra State. He was born in March 1936, though the actual date is unknown. He came from a line of singers and dancers in Igbo land. His genre, highlife, encompassed Igbo traditional musical elements. Along with this, calypso, samba, bolero, rumba, jazz, and waltz were also present in Osadebe's musical style. Osadebe's interest in music grew in his high school years at Onitsha, a major commercial city near Atani. His career spanned over 4 decades, and is one of the best-known Igbo life musicians and king of highlife. His all-time hit was the 1984 single, Osundi Owendi. It established him as a leader in the highlife genre. The song has been covered by many other musicians and remained one of Nigeria's most popular records ever. Osita Osadebe died in St. Mary's Hospital, Waterbury, Connecticut, on the 11th of May 2007, aged 71, after suffering from severe respiratory difficulties. Chief Oliver the Cork was born Oliver Sunday Akanite on April 14, 1947. He was a guitarist and a prolific recording artist. He started his music at the age of 11 when he learned to play the guitar under Piccolo, a Congolese guitarist living in Nigeria. He served an apprenticeship with Juju stars like Sonny Agaga and Jacob Oluwole. Oliver was regarded a star by his late teens and also considered as the most flamboyant Igbo musician. Since releasing his debut album, Messiah Messiah, in 1977, he recorded no fewer than 93 albums. His dance-inspiring Ogene style of Nigerian highlife blended modern highlife and traditional Igbo music. It spawned hits like the People's Club of Nigeria, Anenwe, An Identity, and many more. He died at the age of 61 in 2008. Bright Chimezie was born on the 1st of October 1960. Bright Chimezie started his career as an instrumentalist in his church, an interest which grew while he was a student at Eke Oba Community Secondary School, Umahia. He was nicknamed Okoro Jr. His music style became known as Zigma sound, a genre which became popular in the eastern part of Nigeria in the early 1980s. It is a mix of contemporary Nigerian music and Igbo highlife fused with chanted vocals. Bright Chimezie's lyrics focus on social issues of the country in a rather comical way. His hit songs include Ube Uwanne, Because of English, African Style, Okra Soup, and Oyibo Mentality.
Our teacher can talk, say, anybody, we talk any vernacular, we talk any vernacular, we talk African language, we talk African language, we talk my people's language, we talk my people's language, we talk any vernacular, say good morning.
His debut album, Respect Africa, in 1984, which thrust him into the limelight, was released on the Rogers All Stars label.
We even said that black is beautiful. Oh, I got to prove it. You 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 got to respect Mama. Africa, Mama. We got to know her culture. Africa, Mama. We got to be proud of her. Africa, Mama. We got to respect Mama. Africa, Mama.
An all-round performer, Okoro Jr. is known for his stylish dance steps, popularly known as leg walk. This peculiar delivery of excellent steps and a warring chant earned him the title the Duke of African Music.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Good evening, I'm Loretta Chiogo with the news update. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rolled over its ongoing strike for another 12 weeks. According to a statement signed by the union's president, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, ASU said it took the current decision after its National Executive Council meeting, which reviewed developments since the union declared an 8-week total and comprehensive rollover strike at the end of its emergency NEC meeting on 14th of March. Some of ASU's demands include the release of the revitalization funds for universities, renegotiation of the 2009 FGN ASU agreement, release of earned allowances for university lecturers, and deployment of the UTAS payment platform for the payment of salaries and allowances of university lecturers. Meanwhile, students of the University of Lagos, UNILAG, staged a peaceful protest against the continued ASU strike. They walked on the streets singing solidarity songs, demanding that the government resolve the long-standing issues with lecturers. They, however, said the peaceful protest was just a warning, as they were ready to occupy the streets if their demands were not met.
Agreements with academic staff, we have issues of academic allowance, we have issues of funding of education, we have issues of sabbatical leave and all of that. But the government has been totally irresponsible. And why have they been irresponsible? Because their children are not here. The last time I checked, Buhari's children graduated from London. And again, you see all of these politicians, they don't care about us because it doesn't bring money for them. But when it comes to the banking sector, that's their family and friends are running them, when they're about to collapse, you know the collapse of Skybank, they were quick to bring out trillions of naira to bail them out. And where is the CEO of the former Skybank that looted the funds? We have not seen it. But ASU has been saying since 2009 that 1.5 trillion naira to fund education.
I have a son that is Unilag, Chobani Akiwande is in law. Year 4. It's at home, not like all these children. They are not lazy, they are very hardworking children. They are lecturers, what they are asking for the betterment of all these children and the younger ones that are coming behind them. What they are asking for is just for them to have better environment for studies, good pay, good welfare for the children. And when they have all this facility, we have the best of these children. The lecturers will give us the best of their time because they'll be happy, they'll be well paid, they'll be looking for what is not available elsewhere. They want to stay back in Nigeria and take and bring up these children and mentor them, because at the end of the day, this is our future and we are messing up.
And away from ASU stories, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has challenged Africa to produce what it eats and reduce its dependence on food imports. Speaking at a conference of speakers and heads of African parliaments in Abuja, Osinbajo said that the COVID-19 pandemic brought about food insecurity in Africa. He called on the continent to achieve self-sufficiency in food production. The VP called for increased collaboration in handling issues in Africa. The Federal High Court in Osogbo, Osun State, has fixed May 18th for the judgment on the governorship ticket tussle between Dotun Babayemi and Senator Ademola Adeleke, both of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The court, presided over by Justice Nathaniel Ayo Emmanuel, reserved the judgment to determine who among the aspirants would be the PDP's flag bearer for the July 16th governorship election in Osun. Ayo Emmanuel fixed the date after counter-argument on points of law by counsels to the plaintiff and defendants. Also from the court, a Federal High Court in Abuja has refused the request of the Central Bank of Nigeria's governor, Godwin Emefiele, to restrain INEC and the AGF, Abubakar Malami, from preventing him from his presidential ambition. The CBN governor told the court in Abuja that he can run for the post of the president without vacating his position as the CBN governor. The CBN governor, through his counsel, Mike Ozekome, told the court that Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act has amended does not affect him being a public servant and not a political appointee. The court, in its ruling, however, summoned INEC and the AGF to appear before it on May 12 to show cause on why status quo ante-bellum should not be granted in Emefiele. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has advised the party delegates not to compromise competence and experience in electing the All Progressives Congress's flag bearer at the presidential primaries. Speaking at a town hall meeting with party delegates in Taraba and Adamawa states, Tinubu acknowledged the effort of Buhari's administration in tackling the inherited security challenges. He said there are more gains so far recorded by his government in the fight against Boko Haram, insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping.
Anybody who tells you that this party is not better than the party before is a lie, doesn't understand. We are seeing the past. It will be rough. It was rough beginning of Boko Haram. If we pay attention to it that time, we won't be where we are. But it's a disease, we are going to cure it. It's a challenge, we are going to defeat it. It's a cause, we are going to eradicate them. That is just have belief, have courage. You need me, I need you.
This is an opportunity for us to interrupt the incoming president of Nigeria. And as a people, we wouldn't let this opportunity slip through our hands. That is why I insisted that somebody from Adamawa should tell you some of the problems that we are having in Adamawa, so that when you become the president of Nigeria, you can fix some of these problems because we believe you can fix them.
In 2019, Taraba State, we gave the president 324,906 votes, while they gave PDP 374,000 votes. In fact, we can compare ourselves, as at that time we didn't have even a minister. We didn't have even a minister as at that time, Your Excellency. But we were able to garner 324,000. Adamawa, that had SGF and other notable people, gave the president 374.
The Jigawa State Office of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says that 33,183 permanent voters' card PVCs are ready for distribution to newly registered voters in the state. The acting administrative secretary of the commission in the state, Hamza Idris, urged eligible voters in the state who registered and updated their records to collect their PVCs at the commission's local government area offices across the 27 LGAs in the state. Idris said eligible voters must come with their printouts for easy identification and processing of the collection of their PVCs. And now to other parts of Africa. Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi has announced his candidacy for a second term. The parliamentary committee in charge of organizing the election had announced that presidential elections would be taking place on May 15 as President Abdullahi's mandate ended in February last year. The president, who stayed on amid a delay in the building of parliamentary elections, faces stiff competition from several candidates, including 2 former presidents. And outside Africa, French President Emmanuel Macron has said that He was in favor of a new type of political European committee that would allow countries outside the European Union, including Ukraine and Britain, to join the European core values. Speaking at the European Parliament in Strasbourg, Macron called his re-election as a signal that the French had wanted more Europe, but made it clear that Ukraine's desire to join the bloc would take several years and, as a result, needed to be given some hope in the short term. Rather than bringing down stringent standards to allow countries join more quickly, Macron suggested creating a parallel entity that could appeal to countries who aspire to join the bloc, or, in an apparent reference to Britain, countries which had left the Union. It's been reported that Britain's opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer will offer to resign if he's found by the police to have broken COVID rules at a gathering last year. British police had said they would investigate Starmer over a potential breach of COVID-19 lockdown rules in 2021 after receiving significant new information. Starmer, who previously served as the country's top prosecutor, has led calls for Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Finance Minister Rishi Sunak to resign after the both received fines relating to a birthday party celebration thrown for Johnson by staff in his Downing Street office in June 2020.
I'm absolutely clear that no laws were broken. They were followed at all times. I simply had something to eat while working late in the evening, as any politician would do days before an election. But if the police decide to issue me with a fixed penalty notice, I would, of course, do the right thing and step down. Ever since the first COVID lockdown, I've always followed the rules. In that time, the British people have made heart-wrenching sacrifices. People were left desperately lonely. They were separated from family and friends. Tragically, many were unable to see dying loved ones.
Wall Street's major indexes have opened lower as rising U.S. Treasury yields amid prospects of aggressive monetary policy tightening weighed on growth stocks, with the sentiment taking a hit from fears of an economic slowdown in China. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 2,142 points at the opening to 32,685.17 points. The S&P 500 fell 42.1 points at the opening to 4,081.27, while the Nasdaq Composite dropped 221.6 points to 11,923.029 at the opening bell. And sports news: Liverpool may be 3 points behind league leaders Manchester City in the Premier League with 3 games to go, but manager Jurgen Klopp said he does not believe the title race is done and dusted. A 1-1 home draw against Tottenham Hotspur over the weekend set Liverpool back after City beat Newcastle United, and Klopp was asked if he reportedly told his players the title race was over. Klopp confirmed that Brazilian forward Roberto Firmino was getting closer and closer to a return from a foot injury, adding that it was a challenge to pick a team at the end of a grueling season.
Yeah, we both have 3 games to play, and my concern is actually how can we win our games, and then we have absolutely no hand in how City will play their games. But before they are played, I think we should not add on points. We don't do that, and I'm pretty sure City is not doing that. So, and as far as not reachable anymore, why should we stop believing? And that's what we do. I know. I live in Liverpool, so yes, here a lot of people want us to win the league. That's true. But even here, it's probably only 50%. Just the other guys people were involved in another fight, at least until yesterday.
And that's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Thanks for watching.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamode Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Your treacherous body would have been manure for the motherland. Listen to the words of a corpse. You cannot win this war.
My production career started off practically by some form of divine intervention. I work in TV production, and I've done that in advertising for over 20 years. I do storytelling as well. I do narrative. I've done films, TV series, etc. I taught myself to draw. And that meant 4 hours of sketching every day, minutely competent, where people will say, this doesn't suck. You actually had to practice.
For God's sake, Emeka, we don't even have enough guns or food. What were you thinking?
If you and Uzogu had not unleashed your unique brand of madness last January, we wouldn't be swimming in beers and blood.
It was a revolution!
I was one of my uncles, and he got me a job in, then it was Vanguard newspapers in Apapa. And I got to meet all my heroes because in those days, I knew every cartoonist of every Nigerian publication by name because I would always look for the signature. Advertising was obviously the way to go. English then, if you're doing English, you're either going to be a teacher or something. I was like, no, this is a cool industry. This industry is really cool. It's really being paid to be creative. I was sent around the agency to learn every aspect of advertising. And when I got to TV production, the then head of TV production of SO&U, then Mr. Greg Odutayo, said to me, okay, I want him. So he just made a request. There are many highlights. I've won awards for films I've made, TV series I've done. But let me just jump forward. The most recent thing I've done I'm extremely proud of is being one of the 3 directors on MTV Sugar, Niger. then you have to learn. So when I came into production, I was always asking questions. So I was on a quest to know why this visual image was better than this visual image. And that got me into studying and learning about production. It helps to be always focused on what will make you win. There's a very healthy sense of motivating yourself to always get things right. Make sure your work is up to standard. It resembles anything else across any other platform across the world. The second thing is it must have your identity. It must have your strong cultural identity.
Hi, my name is Daniel Etim Effiong at 10 Questions and Plus TV Africa. I would be I'd be an engineer. Hey, that's my first discipline. If I was straight. That I made a lot of people happy. Oh, camera, wow. I have two versions of that answer. Let me see. The weirdest thing I've ever bought was a morning after pill. I'd definitely marry Yemi Alade. She's my crush. I would date Tiwa Savage, and I'll kiss Toke Makinwa. Hey. Discombobulated. Mama, I made it! Yo, hey Nigerians, how the day? I'll be totally extra, but yeah. Sorry, I'm sure I blew the mic there, but yeah, that's my speech. Favorite childhood memory would be playing with, sticks and stones, creating stories all by myself in my grandparents' house. I actually shot myself in church one time. Can I say that on camera? Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I crapped myself in church. It was so embarrassing, but yeah, I had some diarrhea or something. Daniel Etim Effiong is heart. Daniel is story, and Daniel is cool. Hi, my name is Daniel Etim Effiong, and I just killed the 10 Questions and Plus TV Africa.
11-year-old Bobo Guy went from selling firewood and paper to becoming a wife so she could settle her mother's debt.
I was crying. I wanted someone to help, but we had no choice. The lenders were pressing hard.
More than 12 million underage girls like her get married every year, according to UNICEF.
I had not begun menstruating when I married. I started in my husband's house.
Some girls entering into early marriages are under pressure to continue cultural traditions. Others say they had limited options.
I married my daughter off because we had no place to live. Where could I keep her? If I was in a house with her, if I had my own house like now, of course I would have sent her to school. She would not have needed to marry at 11, 12, or 13. She could have been educated, found a job, or learned a trade.
Early marriages happen across societies. In the U.S., most states permit marriage before 18 if the individuals meet certain criteria. However, critics say many of these marriages take place to circumvent statutory rape laws that protect minors.
I met him about when I was like 13, 14. So one thing after another, after a few years, we just kind of ended up together. I got pregnant underage, and that was kind of what had us go ahead and get married so I wouldn't send him to jail.
The young wives are more likely to leave school, experience domestic abuse, and live in poverty compared to those who marry later, according to human rights activists.
I lost my childhood. I loved school and going to school. But they wouldn't let me.
As governments face international pressure to take action, individuals and groups are stepping forward to help young girls.
The night before the wedding, a local official came to our house to ask whether I wanted to marry. When I said no, he halted the ceremony.
Sultan Tumadam found joy in her married life despite being forced into the union.
I had never met my husband. I didn't know him. With time, we got to know each other. I'm very happy now. Thank goodness.
But the case was different for many of the child brides VOA met over the course of this project. Now divorced or deserted, they are angry at losing their education.
I think if I had only continued my studies, I would not have to experience so much harassment from other people now. I could have found a good job.
Now mothers themselves, they say they regret their stolen childhoods and add they never want to see their children married young.
I am now fighting for my children so they don't end up like me. Someone has to fight for them.
The United Nations is trying to eliminate the practice by 2030. Jesus Amelni, VOA News.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Monday. And you remember that I'm not a fan of Mondays. And this particular Monday, I'm not a fan at all, because how can you lose 4-0 to Brighton and Hove Albion? Wow. 4-0. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. But we'll come to that later on the show. Come on. But what I had to beg Francis Ndem for like forever before he could help me do something. But he has done it eventually. Shakara is plenty. But now what we're talking about now is Nigeria has a boxing board of control, the MBBOC. Now they control everything that comes into Nigeria pertaining to boxing, whether in an advisory role, or they get you the venue, or they get you the boxers, but they have to be involved. Now, Anthony Joshua came to Nigeria, and the MBBOC, the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control, said they heard about his trip to Nigeria on TV. That's all right, really. But now Floyd Mayweather Jr. wants to have a fight in Dubai. Surprisingly, the fight is coming. The press conference is coming to Nigeria in Abuja precisely. And the MBBOC, the Secretary General, Remi Aboderian board, claims the board has no idea that Floyd Mayweather was coming. And it's going to be a case of the way Anthony Joshua came, and they heard on TV or watched on TV and heard on radio, and that Floyd Mayweather has a major press conference in Nigeria, boxing, to fight in Dubai, and you are telling me they don't know anything about it. How can you not tell your boxing board of control or your board of control in any sport that there's going to be a competition in their sport, or the person is coming? Who does that?
It's indicative of the lack of respect that...
Lack of respect?
Yes, exists. I think, obviously, all of the blame in this instance, and even in the instance of the AJ fight, belongs to the organizers. How do you not keep the necessary stakeholders? How do you not carry them along? How do you not?
I have the names of the guys who organized the events, and I'll leave the name till tomorrow when Remy comes on the show to explain to us how bad this is and how much their non-involvement in this is. But my question is, I asked Remy a question personally, and I'll say it here. I said, have you guys given these guys enough reason to respect you? That's a big question.
It is.
Because you see, if someone comes to the studio here, how he talks to us, how he replies our question, a psychologist out there will know that these guys have not given themselves a chance to be respected by these guests.
Well, regardless of all of that, there are two things you can either have. It would be nice to have both when you're in a position of power. You can either have respect or you can have fear. It would be nice to have both. But in this instance, it suggests that the government, the Nigerian government, hasn't empowered them enough to be able to instill fear. You cannot come to Nigeria
How do
to
you
do
instill
something
fear
like this.
in people who actually come to give you change for something they want done? I'm not saying that is the situation here. I'm only saying that just maybe along the line,